Thank you, Madam Speaker. I bring you news from the second front, the war on the border between Mexico and the United States. Dangerous drug cartels are already in control of major stretches of the U.S.-Mexican border, and they're taking over whole Mexican border towns. The Zeta drug cartel is the most violent and most feared of the Mexican drug cartels. Zetas have attacked Mexican towns in military-style operations at platoon-strength numbers. They have massacred hundreds of their competitors, often beheading and dismembering them. They have fought hour-long battles with Mexican military in the streets of Matamoros. Madam Speaker, Matamoros is a border town on the Rio Grande River across from Brownsville, Texas. Recently, shots came over that border, hitting buildings and in a parking lot at a University of Texas branch in Brownsville. Authorities presume this violence was from the drug cartels themselves. The Zetas have moved into Matamoros. They also claim to control Nuevo Laredo, across from the Texas town of Laredo. The Zetas have no fear of the authorities. There is no law and order in any of the towns they control, and they have assassinated police chiefs and local politicians. They own the towns. They have raised terror throughout Mexico, fighting their rivals, the Mexican army, and the police. The success of the Zeta cartel has forced other Mexican drug cartels into an arms race with military weaponry and tactics. Who are these Zetas and where did they come from? Well, the Zetas were formed by deserters from the Mexican Army's veteran elite airborne special forces group. The Zetas also include former members from the Guatemalan Cabilas Special Forces Organization. And we trained them here in America at the School of the Americas in the latest and best tactics and weaponry. When they got back home, they deserted the military and went to work for the drug cartels. They, in essence, declared war on the Mexican government, and they became part of what they were trained to fight. They make a lot more money trafficking guns, drugs, and people than they would ever have working as a Mexican or Guatemalan soldier. And they're using superior military training, that training they received at the expense of the United States. Trafficking in drugs and arms and human beings is a very lucrative business. Billions of dollars worth of merchandise is moved across our southern border every year. The Zeta International Trafficking Cartel has evolved into a privately funded military army. They have the best military equipment money can buy, and they have transformed into an international gang working even in the United States. Without a secure southern border, the violence will continue in Mexico, and only those who live in Never Never Land think the problem will not get to the United States. The Zetas are an urban guerrilla organization that threaten to topple any semblance of law and order. According to the Houston Chronicle, the Zeta gunmen and their accomplices routinely blockade Matamoros' downtown streets. Last winter, the gangsters mobilized thousands of people to briefly close the region's bridges across the Rio Grande River, halting trade with the United States into Brownsville. Now, the administration's strategy is to look the other way and pretend it's not happening. Well, we cannot wish our way from this public threat to America's national security. We must not allow this situation to continue to escalate unchecked, because violence is actually spilling out into the streets of America near our border towns. Our local law enforcement is overwhelmed. The border sheriffs need more assistance. They are not equipped nor trained to handle these military-style incursions by the Zetas and other drug cartels. And while the administration is stalling and deliberating about what to do in Afghanistan, the government is also giving little attention to our southern border. But this is not the first administration to neglect enforcing the rule of law on the southern border. There has been much rhetoric for years from government about we are protecting the border. But like my grandfather used to say, when all is said and done, more is said and done, and that is especially by the government. The nation needs to understand there's a border war on our southern border. Immediate action is necessary, and the United States should conduct training on the southern border with our military. This will help deter incursions. Plus, governors from Texas and New Mexico have asked for the National Guard to be sent to the border. So more National Guard troops should be sent to protect the dignity and sovereignty of our nation, because the first duty of government is to protect the people, protect us from the invasion of the crime cartels. The people who live on the border on both sides expect their government to protect them from the Zetas and all other criminal cartel enterprises. that illegally cross the border. And that's just the way it is. I yield back.